The stars shone brightly above the NASA Observatory in New Mexico. Samantha Wright adjusted her glasses and stared at the computer screen. For 3 nights now, she had noticed something strange at the edge of our solar system. Energy readings that shouldn't be there. Patterns that didn't match any known space phenomenon. "Dr. Carter, could you look at this?" she called to her supervisor. The older man walked over, coffee cup in hand. He leaned down to look at the screen, and his cup nearly slipped from his fingers. "That's impossible," he whispered. Within hours, observatories around the world confirmed what Samantha had found. Something massive was approaching Earth. Not asteroids or comets, but objects moving with purpose, changing direction, accelerating. 6 days later, the whole world watched as massive ships appeared near Jupiter's orbit. They were enormous, each one larger than the biggest city on Earth. Their metal hulls gleamed with an alien light that seemed to bend reality around them. Jack Miller stood on the observation deck of Lunar Base Armstrong, watching the ships through the base's powerful telescopes. As commander of Earth's small space defense force, he felt a cold knot forming in his stomach. His team of 20 ships and 40 fighters seemed pathetically small now. "Commander," his lieutenant said, "we're receiving a transmission. It's being broadcast to the entire planet." The screens around the lunar base flickered, and a face appeared. It wasn't human. The creature had gray-purple skin with ridges where eyebrows should be. 4 yellow eyes blinked independently of each other. When it spoke, its mouth moved strangely, but the words came through in perfect English. "People of Earth, I am High Commander Vzrak of the Saraxian Empire. Our domain stretches across 3 arms of this galaxy. We have conquered 1,000 worlds and brought them into our glorious empire. Now we offer you the same opportunity." Jack clenched his fists as the alien continued. "You will surrender your planet to us. You will provide resources, knowledge, and soldiers for our continuing expansion. In return, you will receive our protection and limited access to our technology. This is a generous offer. Many races have been simply eliminated." The alien's upper eyes narrowed. "You have 1 week to decide. If you accept, prepare your leaders to sign our treaty. If you refuse," the alien made a gesture that needed no translation, "choose wisely." The transmission ended, leaving Earth in stunned silence. On the lunar base, alarms began to sound. "Commander, 3 smaller ships have broken from the main fleet. They're heading toward Earth," the lieutenant reported. "Track them," Jack ordered, "but do not engage unless they fire first." He picked up his secure phone. "Get me the president." Back on Earth, Samantha rushed through the halls of the White House with Dr. Carter. They had been flown to Washington within hours of the alien arrival. Now they waited with military leaders, scientists, and politicians as the world tried to make sense of what was happening. In the Situation Room, screens showed the 3 alien ships entering Earth's atmosphere. They positioned themselves over New York, Beijing, and Moscow. They didn't attack. They simply hovered there, a constant reminder of the threat. "Scouts," said General Pete Adams. "They're sizing us up, showing their power." The President of the United States looked around the room, her face grim. "Options, people. I need options." Jack Miller joined the conversation from the lunar base via video. "Madam President, our current space forces cannot stand against their technology. We saw weapons on those ships that we can't even understand." "So you're saying we should surrender?" the President asked. Jack's face hardened. "No, ma'am. I'm saying we need to be smart. They expect us to either give up or fight in ways they understand. We need to do neither." Across the globe, people looked up at the alien ships with fear and wonder. In homes and shelters, in offices and schools, 7 billion humans faced the same question. Would their world still be theirs when the week was over? The clock was ticking. The United Nations building in New York stood in the shadow of the alien ship. Inside, world leaders gathered in an emergency session. The usual political fights were forgotten. Now, there was only one issue: survival. Dr. Olivia Martinez walked into the hall with her husband, Colonel Frank Martinez. They had been married for 15 years, but rarely worked together. Today was different. Olivia was the leading physicist in weapons research. Frank commanded the newly formed United Earth Defense Force. "The terms are clear," said the Secretary General, a tall woman from Kenya. "We provide resources, knowledge, and people to serve in their military. In return, we get protection and some of their technology." "Protection from what?" Frank asked. "Sounds like protection from them. Like a bully taking your lunch money to protect you from getting beaten up." Several leaders nodded in agreement. Olivia stepped forward. "I studied the data from their ships. Their technology is advanced, but not in all ways we might expect. There are patterns in their energy signatures that suggest vulnerabilities." "Vulnerabilities?" The Chinese premier leaned forward. "You mean we could fight them?" "I'm saying we might have advantages they don't expect," Olivia replied carefully. "Humans approach physics differently than they do. Our experiments with particle weapons could be effective against their shields." The Russian president shook his head. "Even if that's true, we have only a handful of such weapons. They have thousands of ships." "Not all here," Frank pointed out. "Their main force is likely spread across their empire. This is just the invasion fleet." The debate continued for hours. Some nations favored surrender, hoping to gain alien technology and survive. Others insisted on fighting, no matter the cost. In a small meeting room away from the main hall, Olivia worked with a team of scientists. They reviewed data from the alien ships, searching for any weakness. "Look at this," said Bill Johnson, a computer expert from the Pentagon. "Their communication signals. They're complex, but there's something odd about them. They don't use encryption like we do," added Lisa Chen, typing rapidly on her laptop. "It's as if they've never needed to hide their communications from enemies." Olivia's eyes widened. Because they've never faced serious resistance. They'd gotten overconfident. Back in the main hall, the mood had shifted. Early fear was giving way to determination. "My people have faced threats before," said the Indian Prime Minister. "We did not survive thousands of years by bowing to conquerors." The Brazilian president stood. "Earth belongs to humanity, not to these Caraxians." One by one, the nations voted. The decision was unanimous. Earth would not surrender. Frank drafted the response, keeping it short. "Humanity rejects your terms. If you want Earth, you'll have to take it from our cold, dead hands." The Secretary General looked at the message. "This will mean war." "We're already at war," Frank replied. "They just don't know what kind of enemy they found." The message was sent. Within minutes, the alien ships over the three cities began to move. They ascended, returning to the main fleet. Jack Miller received new orders on the lunar base. "Commander, prepare all space forces for battle." This is not a drill. His team raced to their ships. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but they would not go quietly. On Earth, Olivia gathered her research team. "We have days, maybe hours. We need to modify our particle accelerators for space combat. It's time to show these aliens that humans don't surrender easily." Across the globe, military bases went on high alert. Civilian populations were moved to shelters. Children looked up at the sky with fear, while their parents tried to hide their own. In the White House Situation Room, the president received a direct communication from High Commander Thrak. "You have chosen poorly," the alien said. "Prepare to be conquered." The president's reply was simple. "We'll see about that." The clock had run out. War had begun. Time was running out. In underground labs across the globe, scientists worked day and night. Dr. Olivia Martinez hadn't slept in 36 hours. Her eyes burned as she studied the test results on her computer. "It's working," she said, her voice tired but excited. The modified particle beam cut through the sample of alien metal. Her team gathered around. They had collected small pieces of alien technology from a probe that the Caraxians had sent down before the negotiations failed. Now those pieces were helping humans prepare for war. "The problem is power," said Alan Fisher, her assistant. "We can create these weapons, but they need massive energy to work." Olivia nodded. "We'll have to use the particle accelerators themselves. Convert them into giant guns." On the moon, Commander Jack Miller trained his pilots in simulators. They practiced new tactics based on what little they knew about alien ships. "They're bigger, stronger, and faster," he told his team. "But bigger means they can't turn as quickly. We'll use that against them." A young pilot raised her hand. "Sir, what about their weapons? The scans show they have energy beams that could cut our ships in half." "Don't get hit," Jack said simply. "We fly in small groups, never in straight lines, and we hit them where it hurts." In a secure room at MIT, Lisa Chen worked with a team of hackers and computer scientists. They had been studying the alien communications nonstop. "They don't think like us," Lisa explained to Colonel Frank Martinez, who had come to check on their progress. "Their computers are advanced, but their security is strange. They protect against different threats than we would." "Can you get into their systems?" Frank asked. Lisa smiled slightly. "I already have. Not the main fleet computers, but some of their smaller systems. I'm working on a virus that could disrupt their ship coordination." "How long?" "A day, maybe 2. But it will only work for a short time before they adapt." Frank nodded. "Make it count." Across Earth, civilians prepared for the worst. People stocked food and water. They moved to underground shelters or remote areas. In cities, buildings were reinforced. In farmlands, crops were harvested early. In Washington, the president addressed the nation. "We face the greatest threat in human history, but we face it together. All nations, all people, united against those who would take our world from us." Similar speeches were given around the globe. For the first time, Earth stood truly as one. In space, the Thoraxian fleet moved closer. Their massive ships formed a pattern around Earth, ready to attack. High Commander Vzrak watched Earth from his flagship. He had conquered dozens of worlds personally, and supervised the conquest of hundreds more. None had ever given him trouble. "These humans are primitive," he told his officers. "Their defiance is based on ignorance. They don't understand our power." His second-in-command looked less certain. "The scouts report unusual activity. They are preparing defenses we haven't seen before." "It doesn't matter," Vzrak said dismissively. "We will crush them quickly, then harvest their resources. Send the first attack wave. Use only 20% of our fleet. That should be enough to show them their mistake." On Earth, early warning systems detected the movement. "They're coming," Frank told Olivia during a rare moment together. They stood in a bunker deep under the Rocky Mountains, looking at a screen showing the alien ships approaching. Olivia squeezed his hand. "Our weapons are ready. Not as many as we'd like, but they'll work." Frank nodded. "Jack's team will deploy from the moon. Lisa's virus is loaded. We've done all we can." Around them, military personnel moved with purpose. The first human-alien war was about to begin, and no one knew if humanity would survive. But they would not surrender without a fight. The first alien ships entered Earth's upper atmosphere at dawn. They moved slowly, confidently, like predators who knew their prey couldn't escape. In his fighter, Commander Jack Miller led his small fleet from the dark side of the moon. 48 ships, each carrying just 2 people. Against them, over 200 massive alien vessels approached Earth. "Remember your training," Jack said over the radio. "Hit and run. Don't stay in one place. Use the weapons Dr. Martinez gave us." His ship carried one of the modified particle weapons. It looked strange attached to the small fighter, almost too big for the frame. "Charlie Squad with me," he ordered. "Delta and Echo, circle around and wait for my signal." The Earth fighters moved silently through space, their engines dark until they were in position. On the main Thoraxian ship, High Commander Vzrak watched the planet below with satisfaction. "Begin the first bombardment," he ordered. "Target their military bases and power plants." His weapons officer pressed buttons on a glowing panel. Massive energy cannons prepared to fire. At that moment, Lisa Chen, sitting in a bunker thousands of miles below, pressed enter on her keyboard. "Virus deployed," she said to Colonel Frank Martinez, who stood behind her. "It's spreading through their network." On the alien ships, control panels flickered. Weapons systems went offline. Communication between ships became garbled. "Now," Jack shouted to his fighters. The Earth ships ignited their engines at full power, racing toward the confused alien fleet. They fired their particle weapons at the nearest Caraxian ships. The beams cut through alien shields like they weren't there. "It's working," shouted Jack's co-pilot as they watched an enemy ship's engines explode. The human fighters darted between the much larger alien vessels, firing precisely at engines and weapon systems. The Caraxians tried to respond, but their ships were too slow to catch the smaller Earth vessels. "What is happening?" Vizrak demanded as his flagship shook from a direct hit. "These primitives shouldn't have weapons that can harm us." "Their technology is different," his science officer replied, frantically working at his station. "They found a weakness in our shields, and there's something in our computer systems, blocking our commands." In the bunker, Lisa watched the battle through satellite feeds. "The virus is working, but they're fighting it," she told Frank. "We have maybe 10 more minutes before they clear it." "That's enough," Frank replied. "Tell Jack to make it count." The battle raged above Earth. Despite being outnumbered, the human fighters caused significant damage. 7 alien ships were completely disabled. Dozens more suffered damage to weapons or engines. But the humans paid a price. Alien energy beams found their targets too. 15 Earth fighters were destroyed, their crews lost. Jack's ship took a glancing hit that damaged his right wing. "Pull back," he ordered his remaining forces. "We've done enough for now. Return to base." The Earth fighters retreated, disappearing back toward the moon or down to hidden bases on Earth. In his damaged flagship, Vizrak couldn't believe what had happened. 1/3 of his attack force was damaged or destroyed by primitives. "Retreat," he ordered, his 4 eyes blinking in anger. "Return to the main fleet. We need to reassess." The alien ships pulled back, moving away from Earth. On the ground, people emerged from shelters to see the results of the battle. Cheers erupted as news spread. Humanity had won the first round. In the command center, Frank and Olivia watched the alien retreat with cautious hope. "We hurt them," Frank said, "but they'll be back with more ships. And they'll adapt to our weapons and Lisa's virus," Olivia added. "We need something more, something they won't expect." The screen showed the aliens regrouping. There were still hundreds of ships, and behind them, at the edge of the solar system, sensors detected more arriving. The first battle was over. Earth had survived. But the war had just begun. 3 days passed since the first battle. In that time, Earth prepared for the next attack. Scientists studied the data from the fight, learning more about the alien technology. Dr. Olivia Martinez hadn't left her lab except to shower and eat quick meals. She studied pieces of a downed alien ship that Special Forces had recovered. What she found amazed her. Their entire technology is based on quantum field manipulation, she explained to a room full of scientists and military leaders. But they use it in a very specific way. They've never needed to try different approaches because they've always been the strongest. She pointed to a diagram on a large screen. Their shields work by creating a quantum field that should stop any normal weapon. But our particle accelerators use a different approach to physics. We accidentally found their blind spot. Colonel Frank Martinez nodded. "So our weapons work against them, but they'll adapt." "Yes," Olivia agreed. "They're already modifying their shields. Our current weapons won't be as effective next time." In another part of the complex, Commander Jack Miller worked with his pilots. They reviewed video from the battle, studying how the alien ships moved. "They're predictable," Jack told his team. "They use the same attack patterns over and over. They haven't needed to change in 1,000 years of conquering easier targets. A pilot raised her hand. But sir, they'll learn from their mistakes, won't they? Yes, Jack said grimly, which is why we need to keep changing our own tactics. Across the hall, Lisa Chen worked with new data from the alien communications. Her virus had worked for 8 minutes before the aliens removed it, but that was enough time to gather valuable information. Their entire command structure is rigid, she told Frank when he visited her workspace. Orders come from the top, and lower ranks don't question them. High Commander Vzrak makes all important decisions himself. A weakness, Frank said, thinking. Cut off the head, and the body falls. Exactly, Lisa nodded. And I've identified his flagship. It's the largest ship in their fleet, with special quantum shielding. If we could somehow target him specifically. Frank's eyes lit up. That's it. We don't need to defeat their entire fleet. We just need to take out Vzrak. In space, the Xeraxian fleet had regrouped. High Commander Vzrak was furious. No species had ever damaged his ships before. It was unacceptable. Send all ships, he ordered his commanders. We will crush these humans with overwhelming force. His second-in-command spoke carefully. High Commander, perhaps we should study their weapons more before. Are you questioning me? Vzrak's 4 eyes glared at the officer. No, High Commander, the officer said quickly. I will prepare all ships for attack. Back on Earth, the plan came together quickly. Olivia's team modified the remaining particle weapons to be even more effective against the alien shields. Jack trained his pilots for a very specific mission. Lisa prepared a new, more targeted virus. It's a long shot, Frank told the president in a secure video call. But it's our best chance. The president nodded. How many ships can we get in the air? 33, Frank replied. We lost 15 in the first battle, and not all the others are repaired yet. Against hundreds, the president said quietly. Yes, Frank acknowledged. But we only need to reach 1 ship. Early warning systems lit up as the massive alien fleet approached Earth once again. This time, there were no slow, confident movements. The Xeraxians came in fast, weapons ready. They're not holding back this time, Jack told his pilots as they raced to their ships. They're angry, and that makes them dangerous. But it also makes them sloppy. On screens around the world, people watched the approaching fleet with fear. It was 5 times larger than the first attack force. Everyone knows the plan, Frank said over the main communication channel. Operation Thunderstrike begins in 3 minutes. May God help us all. The final battle for Earth was about to begin. The sky filled with alien ships. They blocked the sun like metal clouds. On Earth, people watched from shelters and bunkers as humanity's small fleet rose to meet them. Operation Thunderstrike is a go, Colonel Frank Martinez announced from the command center. All units begin attack pattern Alpha. Earth's defenses fired everything they had. Ground-based particle cannons shot bright beams into space. Fighter jets launched missiles. Orbital platforms activated their weapons. The Xeraxian fleet returned fire. Energy beams struck Earth's surface, destroying military bases and power plants. The ground shook with each hit. But this was all part of the plan. Keep their attention on the main battle, Frank ordered. Stealth team, you are clear to launch. In a hidden hangar, a small ship prepared for takeoff. It wasn't a fighter or a bomber. It was a transport vessel, modified with stealth technology. Commander Jack Miller sat at the controls. Everyone ready? He asked his small crew. Dr. Olivia Martinez nodded, checking her equipment one last time. Lisa Chen sat at a computer console, fingers flying over the keyboard. With them were 4 Special Forces soldiers, each carrying strange-looking weapons designed by Olivia. Let's go end this war, Jack said, and launched the ship. Their vessel rose through the atmosphere, flying close to the ground at first to avoid detection. As they reached space, they stayed behind Earth's orbital platforms, using them as cover. The main battle raged fiercely. Earth's forces fought bravely, but they were heavily outnumbered. Alien weapons destroyed human ships one after another. The humans caused damage too, but not enough to turn the tide. "We're losing too many fighters," an officer told Frank in the command center. "Hold the line," Frank replied firmly. "They only need to hold out long enough for the stealth team to reach their target." In space, Jack piloted their ship through the chaos of battle. Explosions and energy beams filled the vacuum around them. Their stealth technology helped, but they still had to dodge debris and avoid getting too close to enemy vessels. "There it is," Lisa said, pointing to a screen. "Vizrak's flagship. It's at the back of the fleet, coordinating the attack." The ship was massive, twice the size of the other alien vessels. It had extra armor and more weapons. This was their target. Approaching from below, Jack said, adjusting their course. "Lisa, are you ready?" She nodded, typing commands into her computer. "Virus package ready. As soon as we're close enough, I'll upload it to their systems." The stealth ship moved carefully through the battle, staying in the shadows of larger explosions to mask their heat signature. They came within range of the flagship without being detected. "Now," Jack said. Lisa pressed a key, sending her virus into the flagship's communication system. "Uploading. It's in. Their systems are being disrupted. We have maybe 10 minutes before they clear it." Alarms suddenly blared in their ship. "They've spotted us," Jack shouted, turning the ship hard to avoid an energy beam. "Hang on." He pushed the engines to full power, racing toward the flagship. More beams fired at them, but the virus had affected the aliens' targeting systems. The shots missed by narrow margins. "We're going to crash into their docking bay," Jack announced. "Everyone prepare for impact." Olivia grabbed a handrail as the ship shook violently. The Special Forces soldiers checked their weapons one last time. Their small vessel slammed into the alien docking bay, skidding across the metal floor before coming to a stop. Warning alarms sounded throughout the alien ship. "We're in," Jack said, drawing his weapon. "Now for the hard part." The team moved to the airlock. Through the small window, they could see alien soldiers rushing toward their crashed ship. "Remember," Olivia said, "we need to reach their command center. Everything depends on it." Jack nodded, his face determined. "Let's show these aliens what humans do best." The door opened, and they stepped onto the flagship of the Xaraxian Empire. Alien bodies lay on the floor of the corridor. The Xaraxians were tall and strong, but they had never fought humans in close combat before. They didn't expect the speed, the determination, or the ruthlessness of the Earth team. "This way," Lisa said, checking the small device in her hand. She had downloaded the ship's layout during her virus attack. "The command center is 3 levels up." The team moved quickly through the alien ship. Jack led the way, with 2 soldiers behind him. Olivia and Lisa stayed in the middle, protected by the remaining soldiers. "These corridors are too open," Jack said, checking around a corner. "No cover if we're attacked." As if on cue, a group of Xaraxian soldiers appeared at the end of the hallway. They were bigger than humans, with thick gray-purple skin and powerful arms. Each carried an energy weapon. "Down," Jack shouted as alien beams filled the corridor. The team took cover in doorways. The Special Forces soldiers returned fire with their own weapons. Unlike normal guns, these fired modified particle bursts designed by Olivia. They cut through alien armor easily. "We need to keep moving," Olivia said during a pause in the fighting. "Lisa's virus won't last much longer." Jack nodded. "Smoke grenades, then we rush them." The soldiers threw small canisters that quickly filled the corridor with thick smoke. The team put on thin masks that let them see through the smoke, then charged forward. The Xaraxians fired blindly, their shots hitting walls and ceiling. The humans moved between the beams, firing precisely. Within seconds, they had broken through the alien line. "Elevator shaft ahead," Lisa announced, pointing to a large door. They forced it open to find not an elevator, but a gravity lift, a tube of energy that moved people up and down the ship. How do we use this? One of the soldiers asked. Olivia studied it quickly. The same physics as their shields. Jump in and think up. Jack went first, leaping into the energy field. He rose quickly through the shaft. The others followed, floating up through the massive ship. They emerged on the command deck. Here, the corridors were wider and more decorated, with strange symbols on the walls. The command center is just ahead, Lisa whispered, but security will be heaviest there. As they approached, they heard a commotion. Running footsteps shouted orders in the alien language. They know we're here, Jack said grimly. At that moment, a side door opened, and Colonel Frank Martinez stepped out with another team of human soldiers. Frank, Olivia gasped in surprise. How did you get here? You didn't think I'd let you have all the fun, did you? He said with a quick smile. We launched a second stealth ship when the battle started. Figured you might need backup. Jack grinned. Perfect timing. We're about to hit the command center. Together, the two teams approached the massive doors to the bridge. They could hear angry voices inside. Vizrak is in there, Lisa confirmed, checking her device, along with his top officers. Olivia. Frank said, Are you ready for the next part? She nodded, opening her backpack to reveal a strange device with glowing components. If I can access their main engine controls, I can trigger a quantum cascade. It will turn this ship into a bomb. Then let's not waste time, Jack said. He looked at the assembled humans, soldiers, scientists, and programmers united against an alien threat. For Earth. For Earth, they echoed. The soldiers positioned themselves on either side of the door. Frank looked at Jack, then gave a sharp nod. Breach, Jack ordered. The doors blew open with a thunderous explosion. The humans rushed into the command center, weapons ready. High Commander Vizrak stood at the center of the bridge, his 4 yellow eyes widening in shock at the sight of humans infiltrating the ship. For the first time in his long life, the alien felt something new. Fear. Chaos erupted on the bridge of the alien flagship. Cyraxian officers dove for cover as human soldiers stormed in. Energy beams crossed with particle weapons in bright flashes of light. High Commander Vizrak bellowed orders in his alien language. His personal guards formed a protective circle around him. Clear the room, Frank shouted. The human soldiers moved with practiced precision, taking control of the bridge section by section. Jack spotted Vizrak behind his guards. That's him, the commander. Vizrak's 4 yellow eyes fixed on Jack with pure hatred. You dare invade my ship. Your entire species will pay for this insult. While the battle raged, Olivia and Lisa moved to a control panel on the side of the bridge. Olivia connected her device to the alien technology, while Lisa provided cover. I need 3 minutes, Olivia said, working quickly. Then we all need to get off this ship. Jack and Frank fought their way toward Vizrak. The alien commander was much larger up close, nearly 8 feet tall with powerful limbs. His guards fired continuously, forcing the humans to take cover behind alien equipment. We can't reach him, Frank called out. Jack looked around desperately, then spotted something above Vizrak, a large piece of equipment hanging from the ceiling. Cover me, he shouted, then aimed his weapon at the ceiling supports. The equipment crashed down, crushing 2 of Vizrak's guards. In the confusion, Jack and Frank rushed forward with their remaining soldiers. The fighting became hand-to-hand. The aliens were stronger, but the humans were quicker and more creative. Frank ducked under an alien swing and fired directly into its chest. Jack rolled away from another guard's attack and shot its legs. Suddenly, they were face to face with Vizrak himself. You primitives, the alien commander snarled. You think you can defeat the Cyraxian Empire? We have conquered 1,000 worlds. But you've never met humans before, Jack replied, his weapon aimed at Vizrak's head. The alien laughed, a strange guttural sound. Kill me, and another commander will take my place. Our empire will still destroy your world. "I don't think so," said Lisa, who had moved to another control panel. "I'm now broadcasting to your entire fleet." She activated the ship's communication system. Screens around the bridge lit up, showing the battle inside the command center. Every alien ship could see their all-powerful commander cornered by humans. Jack stepped forward. "My name is Commander Jack Miller of Earth. We are not an easy conquest for your empire. We fight back." He looked directly at the camera. "This message goes to every world in your empire. Humanity will not bow to tyrants. We were born fighting. Against nature, against each other, and now against you. It's what we do best." Frank joined him. "Your commander thought we would surrender. Instead, we brought the fight to him." On the side of the bridge, Olivia called out, "Device is armed. 2 minutes to detonation. Take this message back to your empire." Jack continued. "Any force that threatens Earth will meet the same fate. If you come to conquer us, prepare to die." Vizrak lunged forward suddenly, a hidden weapon in his hand. Frank reacted instantly, firing 3 shots into the alien's chest. Vizrak fell to the floor, his yellow eyes dimming. 1 minute, Olivia shouted. "We need to go now." The humans fought their way back to the gravity lift, carrying their wounded. They descended rapidly to the docking level where Frank's ship waited intact. "Everyone on board," Frank ordered as they ran across the docking bay. The ship launched just as alarms blared throughout the alien vessel. They cleared the flagship moments before Olivia's device activated. A brilliant flash of light erupted behind them. The quantum cascade tore through the flagship, then spread to nearby ships through their connected fields. 1/3 of the alien fleet suddenly went dark, their power systems fried by the quantum reaction. The remaining Siraxian ships began to retreat in disarray, their command structure destroyed. From Earth, people watched as the alien fleet scattered and fled. Cheers erupted across the planet as the news spread. Humanity had won. Lisa's broadcast had reached not just the alien fleet, but had been picked up by communication systems across Earth. Everyone heard Jack's message. It would be remembered for generations to come. The stars, it seemed, now belonged to humanity too.